It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. Now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Announcer Guy. Yes, it is showtime. I hope everybody had a great weekend. It's the Monday. We're going to make it a magnificent Monday. Even if it's been a manic Monday, even if it made you mad as hell, we're gonna make it magnificent for you. I hope you had a great weekend anyway. Yes, that's me. It's the Geno Jones Daily Variety Show. I do it live here Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 in Chicago, 3:30 out on the West Coast. So I got a special guest today, a young woman that announced that she's going to be running for a United States Senate seat here in the Palmetto State of South Carolina. This is actually her second time being a guest on the show, so I'm looking forward to having my special guest on camera with me shortly. But it's time for the monologue. All right, so let's talk about last night, the Academy Awards, the Oscars. Once again, the Oscars, the Academy Awards, even when they get close and try to get it right, they still screw it up. Let's talk about the Best Actor, that category. The late, great Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace, power in paradise, who actually is a native of South Carolina. His final performance for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Great performance. Also, how Viola Davis, who is also a South Carolina native, how Viola Davis didn't get the Best Actress. Like I said, once again, the Academy Awards, they got it wrong. They screwed up. But it was just really, everybody, basically anybody would have a brain that watched any kind of movies, follow movies, knew that Chadwick Boseman was expected to get the Academy Award for Best Actor. Didn't happen. But congratulations to my brother, Daniel Kaluuya. He won for Best Supporting Actor last night. Now, I'm really happy for this brother. But once again, to the Academy Awards, to the Oscars, to those that vote, I got to ask you something. So, Daniel Kaluuya played Fred Hampton Jr., who was the chairman of the Illinois Black Panther Party, based in Chicago, on the west side of Chicago. So, Daniel Kaluuya, who played Fred Hampton Jr., got the Best Supporting Actor, but wait a minute. The brother that played, basically, the Judas, Lakeith Stansfield, he was the FBI informant who basically ratted out and gave the FBI all the information, including basically like a schematic drawing of where that Fred Hampton, Chairman Hampton Jr. would be located. When they went in and they assassinated him and Mark Clark. So, okay, so Daniel Kaluuya played Fred Hampton Jr. in a movie about Fred Hampton Jr. So how was he a supporting actor when his character was the lead character in a biopic about the character that he played? Does that make sense to you all? Because it didn't make sense to me. How was he supporting? How was he a supporting actor? Now, Lakeith Stansfield, yeah, he was a supporting. His character was a supporting character. He was a supporting actor because his character was not the lead character. But how? See, I put two brothers in the category for Best Supporting Actor, but the one actor who you gave the award was actually, his character was the lead character. Okay, I'm sorry. I had to get that off my chest. Oh, shout out to the young sister, AKA Gabby Wilson. She was, I think 4 or 5, no, maybe a little older than that, maybe 7 or 8. She was on the Today Show. She was like a child prodigy playing a piano. So now she's grown up from Gabby Wilson to be her. Sister is so talented. So congratulations. She won an Academy Award for the Best Original Song for Fight for You. Fight for You is from the movie Judas and the Black Messiah. Same movie that Daniel Kaluuya got the Best Supporting Actor for playing the lead character of Fred Hampton Jr. in a biopic about Fred Hampton Jr. All right, I'll digress. Let's change subjects real quick before I bring my guest on. Since last Wednesday, April 21st, when Derek Chauvin was convicted in the murder of George Floyd, we've had 2 black people, a black man and a 16-year-old girl, Andrew Brown Jr., Andrew Brown Jr. in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, and a tragic shooting of Ma'Khia Bryant, 16-year-old teenager in a foster home setting in Columbus, Ohio. And you had a third black person, a 32-year-old black man, shot 10 times by the Virginia State Police, who mistaken his landline. So he had a cordless landline phone, one of the portable wireless phones, if you have a landline, and not too many people even have landlines. So he's holding this cordless wireless landline phone to his ear, on the phone with a 911 dispatcher who was in communication with the same police officer that shot Isaiah 10 times. Isaiah Brown is his name. Shot him 10 times. He is clinging to life right now in a hospital in Virginia. So last week, several weeks, I have been talking about the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act and what can be done to somehow get police officers to stop killing unarmed black men, women, and children. Or in the case of a 16-year-old Ma'Khia Bryant, a young lady who had a kitchen steak knife. Now, I've given you many instances of a 17-year-old kid named Kyle Rittenhouse, a white kid who was from Illinois, went over to Kenosha, Wisconsin to protest against those who were supporting getting justice for Jacob Green, who was a black man who was shot in the back and paralyzed in front of his kids. So Kyle Rittenhouse murdered 2 people on the streets of Kenosha, Wisconsin, shot a third person. He's walking down the street with an AR-15 strapped across his chest, and people are yelling to the police who Kyle Rittenhouse is walking towards with a semi-automatic, with an AR-15. And people saying, hey, he just killed 2 people, he just murdered 2 people. And Kyle Rittenhouse is prancing and skipping like a peacock right past police officers on foot and in cars. Did he get shot? No. Did he get arrested? No. What did he get? A bottle of water. The police gave Kyle Rittenhouse, who murdered 2 people on the street of Kenosha, Wisconsin, in front of eyewitnesses who were telling the police in real time, wow, Kyle Rittenhouse, gun still smoking, is walking past the police in cars and on foot with the AR-15 strapped across his chest. Can you imagine if Kyle Rittenhouse was a 17-year-old black teenager, male or female, walking past any group of police officers in the midst of a protest that was peaceful until he came with an AR-15? Can you imagine that teenager living to tell about it? Or walking by the police, having a conversation, being given a bottle of water? So when I talked about qualified immunity, and qualified immunity means basically it's a federal law that protects police officers and law enforcement officers from basically being sued, from being held accountable in a civil way. And I said, and I'm going to say it again, if we cannot appeal to your sense of humanity, if you can't see my humanity based on the pigmentation of my skin, if somehow just the sight of my body triggers this fear to where not your last, but your first instinct is to use lethal force. if I can't appeal to your humanity, if I can't appeal to a sense of compassion and empathy, I can get your attention by digging in your pockets. And that's basically what qualified immunity would do. There's some folks that claim that that would ruin policing. But like I said, if I can't appeal to your humanity, if I can go after your money, if I can go after your pension, if I can seize your assets, your home, your car, and liquidate those assets, and take that money and give it to the victims of the people who you murdered, who you used excessive force, I guarantee you, it would slow a lot of things down. Then when it came to black and brown people, the first instinct that we've seen in too many cases, the first instinct would not be to use lethal force. The first instinct would be, let's see if we can de-escalate this situation, because I am not trying to lose my pension, my home, my car, my kids' college tuition. So that's been a big debate. Now that's the big debate in the Senate. Senator Cory Booker, along with Senator from South Carolina, Tim Scott, and Senator Karen Bass in California, are having discussions about the George Floyd and Policing Act. And the qualified immunity part of it, it seems to be the biggest sticker block. So on that note, speaking of the U.S. Senate, I want to bring my guest on camera. She is the South Carolina representative for District 117. That is the Lansing, South Carolina area, here in the Low Country area, part of South Carolina, the Charleston metro area. She is running to be the United States Senator from the great state of South Carolina, the Palmetto State, coming back to the Geno Jones Show for a second time, now to discuss her run for the United States Senate. Let's speak it into existence. Let's name it and claim it. Future Senator, U.S. Senator, currently Representative Krystle Matthews. Hello, Senator.
Hello, Geno. Thank you for having me. How are you?
We talked off camera, and I told you I was raised in a household where my grandmother said, Jeannie, name it and claim it. You have to believe it and speak it into existence. So
that's right.
I hope you don't mind if I'm trying, I want to speak.
Not at all. Put it out there in the atmosphere.
Good. There you go. There you go. So thank you. So listen, let's start off. Tell the viewers, why are you running for the United States Senate?
I'm running for the United States Senate because I feel like it's time for working families to have a voice on the Hill.
So there's always like a backstory, and I'd love to hear it, and I know my viewers would love to hear it. What was or has been currently your inspiration for wanting to take this next jump? Because I'm not just saying this, people like you, Wendell Gilliard, of course, Senator Kempson are doing a great job against just really some tough odds here in the state of South Carolina in terms of legislation, and you guys are doing a great job. So some would argue this will be a bigger challenge. So what's been your biggest inspiration?
So my biggest inspiration, honestly, is people like myself, working families that are, working two jobs to make ends meet. Our teachers that are in the trenches right now at the hands of politics and trying to do their job. It's all the things that intersect with how we live. But most of the time, working families are not at the table. And so I want to make sure one thing that is always going to happen is that we're always going to have laws. There will always be bills being passed and made. But will they have the voice of the working family at the table for them here in South Carolina? And most of the people who live in this state are working families. So we should have a seat at the table.
So are there specific policies that you really want to champion once you wind up in Washington, D.C.?
Definitely infrastructure for the state. As you can see, it's crumbling beneath our feet. Also, one of the things that I wanted to focus on, which is something that most people never talk about, is credit reform. I mean, there's not anything that we do that doesn't involve your credit score. We talk about housing and getting an apartment, getting a car, even your insurance. everything intersects with credit scores, but nobody is talking about that because everyone is so polarized on these political agendas that they fail sometimes to see what us real working families need. And that is one of the big hitters for me that I'm definitely focusing on.
Now, brother Jamie Harrison, shout out to Jamie Harrison. I thought he ran a great campaign, came very, 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 very close. Very close. As a matter of fact, I'm still scratching my head. It's like, I can't believe he didn't win. So did you find any inspiration, or did you look at the run he had? You said, there's a template. If Jamie Harrison could do that, at the time might be right for me. So did you glean any inspiration from the campaign that Jamie ran?
I do think that Jamie ran quite a valiant campaign, but I will have to be honest and say that no, that was not a tipping point for me. I think he was very inspirational to a lot of people. And I think a lot of people were hoping that he was going to win because they were hoping for something different. But for me, my inspiration, it comes from hearing the complaints of the people around me. It comes from my constituent calls and handling all of the problems that are going on and realizing that what we are more than anything is a resource. And so I love being able to provide that access. And that is something that you have to have a heart for. It's not something you learn to do.
You talked about some of the biggest things that you've heard in terms of the complaints from your constituents. So what are some of those things? They may be obvious to some, but I'm curious, what did you learn that maybe you didn't learn or you didn't know that it was so urgent to your constituents?
So one of the things that I get a lot of calls about is infrastructure, right? Definitely flooding and infrastructure needs. But then on the flip side, a lot of what they need help with is navigating through the programs that government puts in place, whether it's from the White House or from the State House. When you talk about PPP, EIDL, unemployment, how to get the vaccine, when is it going to be available, information. And I tell you what I really found out that really just opened my eyes to so much is that there are so many people living who don't actually know how to use their representative. They don't even know. They know everybody by title, but they don't actually know what they do. And I found that to be interesting because, again, just to simplify it, because one of the things that I have found is that people in politics, they like to talk over people's heads. They try to use a lot of big words and fancy rhetoric just to make themselves sound important. But at the bottom of the pile, we are simply a resource. We are a resource and we are a voice. And that is what the base of our job is. And so what I found out was that most people had no clue. It becomes this untouchable society of people that represent you, but most people never talk to, which is kind of odd because how can they represent you if you never talk to them, right? So that was kind of the tipping point for me, a very big eye opener, like, wait, I can't believe that this is how people think, and myself included, right? So definitely looking forward to bringing some light to that.
So if and when, we're going to speak this into existence, when you are elected, there are many people that hope that the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act will already have been passed. But if not, where would you stand on that act? Would you vote in favor of it or not? And if so, or if not, why?
Well, I typically need to read an entire bill before I commit to it. So let me just preface it by saying that. And that is just habit from the State House, because I ain't gonna lie, I don't trust anybody. I have to read everything for myself. I just don't. Call it habit. I have to read it. And what we have already is too many charismatic leaders who don't read and trust other people. Mm-hmm. So I have to read it, number one. But on the strength of the focus of what it is, yes, I do support what it is focusing on, as well as I know we talked about before the John Lewis Voting Act. Yes, I definitely support that. I am not in favor of all this voter suppression that is sweeping across the U.S. right now. It is our right to vote. It is our right to have our voices heard in places where bills and laws are being constructed that affect how we live. And for anybody to try and take that away and step on it or make it hard or arduous to get to, that is just immoral. And so, yes, I would support both of those on the strength of what their intent is.
You know, it's an interesting conversation. So I saw videos, since we're talking about senators and we're talking about the state here, South Carolina, that we both are in right now. Senator Graham says that qualified immunity would destroy policing. What's your take on? Do you think that if the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act or any bill with qualified immunity, do you think that would destroy policing?
I don't know that I believe it would destroy policing, but I'll be honest with you, I would need to dig more into that before I have a definitive view, and I don't want to mislead anybody on my views. So I would have to dig more into that, but I definitely don't think in the history of where we've come from with the GOP as of recent, most of what they tell us is going to happen. I mean, we were told if Biden was elected, the sky was going to fall, and yet here it is, the sky is still in the air. So I would have to say that I can't wholeheartedly agree with that at this point, no.
Yeah. People say, one day they say one thing, and then 48 hours, maybe 20 minutes later, they're saying something else. So I'm with you on that. But one thing, listen to everybody that's watching. I'm not just saying this because the sister's on. But one of the things, when I first met her and I followed what she was doing, the sister's pretty consistent. Like she said, she's gonna do her homework, but once she does her homework and she plants her flag in the ground,
I'm coming with the facts.
Right.
I'm coming with the facts.
Right. It ain't gonna be you like in the wind and like, oh well, you know, I'm here, but in 30 minutes I could be over here, and then I could no. Yeah. and that's a good thing. And people appreciate authenticity. Even if they don't agree, if they know that you're authentic and that you are emotionally invested and your position is rooted in not just facts, but humanity. Humanity. It's just so
most of us live a real life. We don't live in glass houses. I meet with my team constantly. And one of the things that I tell them is I refuse to be a glass house candidate. I'm not going to do it. It's not me. It's not who I am. And I tell them all the time, most of the people who are painting the perfect picture are crazy behind closed doors. That's just my own opinion. But, most people don't really relate to people who project perfection. It is not how we live. It's not human nature. We make the best decision we think at the time. And sometimes when you look back, as they say, hindsight is 20/20, you realize, well, maybe I shouldn't have wore that red suit. It didn't look too good on camera, but at the time you thought you was the best thing walking. So it happens, right? Yeah. And so for me, I feel like real people need real representation from real people. And most people who understand the lingo will understand what that means. It's easy to take anybody's words and wrap them up and make something else of them if that's what you desire to do. But I read a quote not too long ago, and it said, don't waste your time arguing with people who have already come to the table with their mind made up. It makes no sense because they're looking to double down on their argument, and you're trying to spend your energy convincing them otherwise. It just makes no sense. But when people come with an open mind, those are the people that come ready to receive, learn, and grow, because you can't grow unless you learn.
So, Representative Matthews, I guess in closing, if you were to go to a shopping mall or go to a factory or maybe go to a supermarket, and if someone said, if I vote for you to be my senator, how will you change my life? How will my everyday life improve with you representing me up in Washington, D.C., in the Capitol as my senator? What would you tell them?
Your life will improve because I might not be able to tell you what you want to hear, but I will be able to tell you the truth. I will be able to tell you what you need to do in order to maneuver to get the things done that you want to get done. And that is one of the biggest things that I take pride in my role right now as a representative, and that I take pride in as a person. I don't get off on having titles, and I don't get off on having fame or fortune. I don't run to the nearest camera every time there's one in the State House. But I don't care who takes the credit necessarily either. When people need things, Geno, they just need them.
Yeah.
The people down here living, they don't know who's signing on to what at what time and in what order. And all they know is that either it came or it did. And so when we start focus on that, that's what's important. So that's what people will get from me. Unequivocally, that's how your life will change, because information is power.
Absolutely. And speaking of information, if people want to get more information about you, your background, your policy positions, or if they want to support your campaign, which is pretty important too, how can they do that?
They can support me by going to MatthewsForSenate.com and signing up on our website. We're going to be doing a 46 county statewide tour. So if you want us to come through your area or have anything you want us to know that's happening or highlight anything, please go to MatthewsForSenate.com, sign up to be a volunteer, hit our buttons, find out who we are, read about my team, read about my endorsers. Also, you can email info@kmforsenate.com as well. I think that's right. If not, kmatthews.screp@gmail.com will get you there as well. And you can find us at Matthews for Senate on Facebook and KM for Senate on Twitter.
And her lives on social media, when the sister goes live, you talking about some heat? So she's too modest. I'm going to brag for her because she ain't going to brag on herself, not on camera, but I'm going to brag. Oh yeah, now she has some live sessions on social media. He's talking about fire and the truth. If you can't handle the truth, you may not be able to handle some of those lives, because
right.
as my grandmother said, tell the truth, shame the devil. The truth needs no defense. So
that's right.
State Representative from District 117, the Latson area here representing the Low Country, soon to be, yes, I'm speaking into existence, future U.S. Senator from the state of South Carolina, Krystle Matthews. Representative Senator Matthews, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. You know, you always have a home right here on the Geno Jones Show, so make sure that you come back and give us an update on your campaign, and if there's any new information or anything pertinent that you want to address with the public, you know, you got a home right here.
I appreciate that, Geno. And just to let y'all know, our donation link in Act Blue is open. Please go and donate. And you don't have to be rich. If you could do a reoccurring donation monthly of $25 or something like that, that would be fine with me. But we definitely are going to need some funds so that we can bring our voice to the people.
Absolutely. Thank you. Once again, Representative Matthews, thank you. Congratulations. We're proud of you. And hey, listen, like you said, you know, you always got a home here.
Thank you, Geno. Have a great night.
You too. All right, that's Representative Krystle Matthews. Very talented. Sister's bad. So, and she's done great work up in the state capitol here in Columbia, South Carolina. Hey, listen, thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you. God, most of all, thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Show. It's daily. It's Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. in Chicago, 3:30 out on the West Coast. Tomorrow, my guest is going to be my legal expert, Paul Ellis Jr., who also happens to be the nephew, the maternal nephew of the American icon as a playwright. I'm talking about August Wilson. Just so many great Broadway plays. Fences, that was adapted into a movie, Denzel Washington, Viola Davis, who got an Academy Award for her role in Fences. So August Wilson, an iconic American playwright, is, they're having a special event because very soon, the official opening of the August Wilson House is going to be opened in August Wilson's birthplace, which is Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So Paul is going to be, he's going to join me. He'll be my guest live from the August Wilson House. He's going to take us on a little tour and also have a very special announcement, because tomorrow would have been and is, but it is the birthday of August Wilson. So if he was still living, he would I don't know exactly how old he'd be, but we'll talk about that. But tomorrow is August Wilson's birthday, and in honor of his birthday, we're going to do a special show in terms of just sharing with the world the August Wilson House and how you can support this organization, and you can support the house that is scheduled to be the official launch. The official opening will be sometime later in 2021. But they still need the public's support, not just there in Pittsburgh, but nationwide. So that's going to be our show for tomorrow. And Paul Ellis Jr. is going to be my guest from the August Wilson House. All right. Shout out to Mr. Bruce Gage, the official wardrobe stylist and consultant for the Geno Jones Show. Google Bruce Gage on Instagram, on IG. Markel Bailey, he is the official barber and hairstylist for the Geno Jones Show. Check him out on Instagram, on IG. Kel B. Cuttin, KelBeCuttin. Also, Bruce Gage, the wardrobe consultant and stylist for the show. You can check him out also, flyballthestore.com. Flyballthestore, all one word, flyballthestore.com. Please like, share, and subscribe to the Geno Jones Show channel, live here on my YouTube channel, and share and tag all the episodes. Go back and binge watch my episodes. And if there's someone watching, if you'd like to be a sponsor, I would love and be honored to have you as a sponsor on my show. I would love to be the pitch man for your product, your good, your service, your business, or if you want to advertise right here on the Geno Jones Show, please reach out to me. Geno Jones Show at Gmail. That's how you spell Geno with an E, Geno, Geno Jones Show at Gmail. Or leave me a message right here on my YouTube channel. All right, I love each and every one of you. I love you, I really do. Thank you for watching. Once again, thank you to State Representative from District 117 here in South Carolina, Krystle Matthews, running for the United States Senate seat here. As a matter of fact, Representative Tim Scott, his term will be up in less than 2 years. Don't know if he's going to run again or not, but we are definitely all in for Representative, soon to be U.S. Senator Matthews. Like I said, speak it into existence. All right, each and every one of you, I love you. I really do. Thank you for watching. Mother, you know I love you. I know you're always watching. So tomorrow, with my special guest from the August Wilson House in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, on the birthday of the iconic American playwright, August Wilson, his nephew, Paul Ellis Jr., talking all about the August Wilson House tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Until then, once again, thank you for watching and be blessed.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of The Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.